So, is it salmon or salmon? If you don't know the answer to that question, then grab yourself something to eat or drink and hit that like and subscribe button and stay tuned to find out the answer to my question. Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Study Saturday. Today's topic is silent letters in English words. If you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and also leave a comment if you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't already noticed, I started posting twice a week again on Saturdays and now Wednesdays because I am doing an 8-week writing series called Writing Wednesday. Please check out that playlist called Writing Wednesday to see the first 2 videos that I have posted and leave me a comment to let me know what you think about it. And as always, please feel free to leave video requests in the comment section of this video. Let's get started with today's video. So it is said that roughly 60% of the English language contains silent letters. I'm not sure about that statistic, but it is definitely true. We have a lot of silent letters in the English language. In fact, our vast vocabulary and our strange pronunciation tends to make English a bit more difficult than necessary for non-native speakers. While our grammar is quite simple compared to other languages, think of in German, der, die, das, dem, des, and so on and so forth, it is really a lot easier, the grammar. But our vocabulary is definitely much richer than many other languages, and our pronunciation and spelling is a bit unique. So I'm going to give you guys some tips about when you shouldn't pronounce silent letters in words, some of the rules, but please bear in mind that as always in English, there's almost always an exception to the rule, so there will be times that these rules do not apply to certain words. But I do hope that knowing these general loose rules will help you with your pronunciation. So first up, we will talk about the silent B. B as in B. Bzz. The letter B is generally not pronounced when it is at the end of a word and it follows the letter M as in Mary. Some example words: comb, thumb, and crumb. Another rule for silent B's is when it precedes the letter T. Some example words are doubt, subtle, and debt. Moving on to the silent C. When combined with the letter S, the C is very often silent. For example, in the word scissors. It is not skizzers, but scissors. Another silent C rule is that when the letter C is followed by the letter K, then you don't pronounce it. Some examples are lock, puck, and acknowledge. If you pronounce the C and the K in all of these sounds, you would have something like lakak or acknowledge. So you only pronounce one of those sounds, either the hard C or the K, which is the same sound essentially, though the C can also have other sounds, not just the hard C. If you're interested in hearing more about the C sound, leave me a comment below. Next up, we will talk about the letter D as in dog. It is often silent when it is followed or succeeded by an N as in Nancy or a G as in go. Examples: the word Wednesday, as well as the word pledge. It is followed by a soft G, and it is not pronounced pledge. These rules do not apply to all words, and there are some other common words where it is not pronounced this D sound. For example, handsome and sandwich. You don't pronounce the D in those 2 words. So it is best just to simply learn the outlier words separately, as you cannot possibly learn categories for all of these exceptions in the English language. Moving on to the silent E, When an E comes at the end of words, then it is often not pronounced, it is silent. Unlike the other Germanic languages like German or Dutch, where the E at the end of the word would have a sound, E at the end of a word in English is generally silent. For example, table, right, give, edge. Another time that E's can be silent is when it is followed by a D, and this can also be in the simple past form, but it can also be in words such as bored. If you want to know more about pronouncing the simple past and the ED endings, I will put a link here up in the cards as well, maybe it's that side, I'm not sure, as well as in the description box, and you can go ahead and watch one of my very first Study Saturday videos where I covered this important topic. Next up is the silent G. This is when the letter G precedes the letter N. For example, design, sign, foreign. The G is not pronounced, it is silent. Next up is related to the G sound, the silent GH combination. This one is one of the most common silent letter combinations that you can think of in the English language. And some words that have these silent sounds, or silent letters I should say, are though, light, and thought. Next up is the silent H, and this comes at the beginning of words when it follows a W. So for example, weather, when you're speaking about this or this, not the weather as in sunny or rainy, but weather. And some American dialects from the southern states, or as we call it, the South, they will pronounce the WH sound as hua. So the White House, weather, whom. I am not from the South, so I apologize if I am doing that incorrectly, but there is a clear distinction for certain dialects where they do indeed, in fact, use the H sound, but in most US English, American English dialects, you will not pronounce the H, it will be silent. Now, if there are any British English speakers watching, please feel free to write any of the differences that you have in native British English down below in the comments. I love covering the differences between American and British English, so also if you want to collaborate with me on a future video, let me know and we'll get that going. So silent H's are pretty common in English. There are several more. I'm going to try to go through them a little bit quickly, so if you want to have more elaboration on any of these, let me know in the comments. H is often silent at the beginning of words, for example, the words honor and hour. But then, as an exception to these silent H rules, there are times where you really have to pronounce the H. The W, it can also be pronounced after the W, and the W becomes silent. For example, who or whole. So silent W's also happen in combination with H, just like silent H's happen in combination with W's. Moving on to the silent K, often when the K comes before an N, then the K is silent. For example, knock, no, and night. Now the silent L sound, the one that got you all hooked into watching this video, the L in salmon, for example, is not pronounced. When the vowels A, O, or U precede the L sound, it is very commonly not pronounced. For example, calf, half, and should. And also our first example, salmon, is correct, not salmon. Moving on to the silent N. The N sound is not pronounced when it follows an M as in Mary. For example, the words column and autumn. Moving on to silent P's, the P as in Peter is often silent when it is used in combination with an S, an N, or a T. For example, psalm, psychology, and ammonia. So the next one is less of a silent sound and more of a changing it sound. So the PH sound, the combination of P as in Peter and H as in happy, can be pronounced like an F. For example, the name Sophia and the words telephone and paragraph. Next up is the silent S, and that is when the S precedes the L as in lucky sound. For example, island, and isle. Next up is the silent T. This one doesn't have a specific letter combination where it is silent. It is simply commonly not pronounced in certain English words. For example, castle, fasten, whistle, listen, and ballet. Often this is because these words come from other languages where they are not pronounced in those languages, but there isn't one steady rule that can make you remember all of the possible situations where the T is silent. So it is always best when you learn a new word and you write it down and you look up the definition that you also try to play an audio recording of the word. Webster Dictionary, I will link it in the description box. They have a wonderful website and app that will help you with that. And of course, I also always recommend either Oxford or Cambridge. I can't remember which one of the two, but one of the two always has both American English and British English audio files there for you that you can click and you can listen to both UK and US English pronunciation of the word that you are searching. Next up is the silent U, and that is when it comes after a G as in go and before a vowel. For example, guard, guide, and guest. And last but not least, the silent W. The letter W is not pronounced when it comes before the letter R. For example, right, wrong, and rap. My last rule with a silent W for today's video is the following words: answer, to, and sword. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comment section below. And a special shout out and thanks to my sister who shared a meme about how crazy the year 2020 has been, and we should all just start pronouncing the L and salmon, because why not? Crazier things have happened this year. She shared that on Facebook and I thought it was really funny, and I thought that would be a great Study Saturday video. So kudos to my sister for sharing that. And as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you either on Writing Wednesday or next week for Study Saturday. Bye, guys.